Hi guys, it's Crystal. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make this super cute Christmas plate using two circles in Design Space, using the curved text, and then doing a knockout for these right here. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's go ahead and jump into Design Space. So we've already ready for a new project. So what we're going to do, so I'm going to come to my shapes. We're going to need two circles. So I'm going to go ahead and get both of them now. So I need two of them. So I'll just duplicate them. So I'm going to go ahead and hit duplicate. Alright, so I'm going to change one of these to white so we can see what we're doing. Alright, so this is the one that'll go on this one. So now for this one, I'm going to hit unlock and I'm going to change it to 10.5 and change the other side to 10.5. Alright, now I'm going to bring my screen. I'm going to come down here and hit the minus. And I'm going to lock it back. Alright, so step one. Now I know that the inside of my circle is about 7.25, so I'm going to go ahead and change this one to 7.25. Now the plate that you may find is probably going to be different sizes, whether it's from the Dollar Tree or from a junk store, a plate that you already have. You just need to measure the size of this. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and change that to 7.25. Then the next step you're going to do is get that in the center. You want this one to be in the front. So if it's not in the front, if this was behind the big one, you would just come up here to arrange and move it to the front. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select them both. And then I'm going to come over here to line and I want to center this. Now I'm going to come down here to slice and hit slice. Alright, so just like that, we're going to delete this one and delete this one. So now we have the shape that's going to go for the vinyl around the outside of our plate. So I'm going to design right here in the circle. So I know I want some trees and a moose. I'm going to go ahead and look for those now. So what I did was come up here to the search and type in moose. Alright, then I just found one that I really like. So just scroll around, like this one's really cute because you can turn this solid. So even though they have little designs, just remember you can go to contour and get rid of these little things. So I came down here and found this one right here, which is a layered image, but I'm going to insert it and I'm going to take away the back side of it. Because now you could go to silhouette and find an even different shape or whatever. You'd go to Google and say type in moose silhouette. If you wanted to do a bear, you would say bear silhouette, and you would just bring that in like we've showed. I'll go over some more videos like that in some upcoming videos. So now what I'm going to do is, see the shadow one right here? I'm going to hide it. I don't want it. And then we're going to take this. Now I can work with it in the middle here to figure out my sizes. So I can kind of figure out how big I want this. So now the next thing that I want is some trees behind my moose. So I'm going to come back to images, and now I'm going to type in tree. So I wanted some that kind of was like, you know, the forest a little bit, but a little bit kind of, oh, I don't know what you would call it, kind of like chic, you know, shabby chic or something. So I liked these trees right here. So what I did was inserted those. Alright, so I came over here and I went to ungroup. And I just want this piece right here. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these. I just wanted the background. So I'm going to go ahead and get this kind of sized where I want it. Now you see it's in front of my moose. I'm going to come to arrange and move it to the back. So now my moose is in the front. So what I'm going to do is I want to resize these trees back here. But what keeps happening every time I want to click on my trees, which it didn't do this to me earlier, but it's doing it to me now, so it's a good example. If you can't click on it, don't worry about it. Move this guy out of the way. And I want to bring it down just a touch. So now I can bring back my circle here and figure out if I like that. So say I was happy with that. Then I figure out exactly where I want my moose to stand. Say that I like it like this. And I can resize this if I want to, bring him a little bit bigger, whatever I want to do. So say that I'm happy with it though. What I'm going to do is I want to select my trees and my moose. So what I'm going to do, since it's wanting to grab the circle, I'm going to move it out of my way. Okay, so I want to slice these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate my moose here so I can bring it back in a second. I'm going to select these two and I'm going to come down here and hit slice. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this and all of these little pieces here like that. So now you can see that my moose, so whenever I go to layer this, I won't have a ton of layers. So that way, if you ever see that when you do a project and you layer right on top of another piece of vinyl, it looks a little bit bulky. But if you'll do this and slice it whenever you come to bring the pieces in, you're just going to layer it, which you'll see here in just a minute. Then we won't have all that bulkiness. It'll be one smooth piece, okay? So then what I can do is bring back my circle. So this is just testing. I'm not going to cut it all out at one time. So now I want to do Merry Christmas. So I'm going to come down here, get my font. I'm going to type in Merry Christmas. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I want to change that font, and I'm going to come up here and type in watermelon. And I want this one. So what I'm going to do, and I have discovered, if you ungroup these, this curve will go away. So you have to letter space as close as you can. You're not going to be able to ungroup and kind of pull them in. You're just going to have to group as close as you can. So say that looks good to me. Then what I'm going to do is I want to curve it. So I want to curve it right in here. So I'm going to go to my curve, which is right here. And I'm going to start to curve that a little bit. So say I want it just like that. So what I'm going to do is bring this down so I can figure out exactly where I want this guy to go. Just like that. All right, so now you can either leave it all together like that, or if you want to space it at this point, I could come in with a square shapes. Now you can ungroup it and then grab your letters and move them over, you know, and then attach them again. But I'm just going to take a square here and bring it out a little bit, and I'm going to rotate it. Let me move this up here so that way it's out of my way. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the Merry Christmas to the front so I can see where I'm going to slice. Let's see. Let's arrange here. We're going to move to the front. There we go. So now I can make sure that I'm not going to slice like my letter C or anything like that. So I want to slice just right in the center of them, just like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that, and I'm going to hit slice, which is right down here. We're going to get rid of this square, and there should be two of these Merry Christmases just like that. But I'm going to change that back to black. All right, just like that. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select them both, grab them, bring them back in here, and now I'll carefully move them apart, just like that. So that way I have them spaced out just like I want them. So that's how you would do that. That would be like the easiest way to do it. And you can kind of adjust them however you want to, just like that. Okay. So now that we have everything ready to go, so what I'm going to do is now change the colors of the things that I need. So like the round circle here is going to be red. So that way they'll cut it this, you know, on the same piece. So like the moose here is going to also be red because they're going to be the plaid. So I'm going to go ahead and change it to red. My trees here are going to be green. So I'm going to go ahead and change that now. And then my Merry Christmas, I'm going to leave in black. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys this because this is something that I have never seen before. So now I'm going to have to figure out a different plan because, which I mean, it's not going to hardly cost me anything, but I'm not very happy about it. Okay, so what's going to happen is you can see I'm ready to go to make it. And, which I need to attach the letters here, but that's not my problem. It says that it's going to charge me 99 cents. And I know the items that I got was free. Went and double checked it. So I went to purchase, so just so I can see which one it's going to charge me for. It's the trees. So you see that it says they're 99 cents, but I have access, so it cost me 53 cents. Well, first off, if you come over here, we're going to hit cancel. I'm going to go to images. I'm going to come back to tree. And I'm going to show you that it does not, it's free. So I'm not too sure what's going on. Did I pass it already? I must have passed it. Right here. This is the one we're using. See where it says the word free? See how this one charges money. This one is free. I tried to click on details. I'm not too sure what's going on with that. But I'm not going to pay the 53 cents when I don't have to. So that kind of frustrates me. So we're going to start over a little bit with our trees. So let me look around and see if I don't see any other cute trees that I want to use. And hopefully it's not going to continue to do this. These trees are cute. Let's see if they work. So we're going to hit insert image. But just in case you guys deal with something like that, I'm going to here in a second send Cricut a message so they can address that situation. I'm sure they'll fix it right away, but just before you guys get frustrated with something like that, I wanted to point that out. All right, so now we're going to go with these little handy dandy trees here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move them to the back, arrange, move to the back, and I'm going to, let's see here. I want to get rid of this one and just have the trees just like that, so we can slice once again. Let me move this up. I wonder if I sliced. Hold on, I'm thinking here for a second. I may do a little bit of a different. Maybe if I bring it. Let me bring my Merry Christmas. Let me grab both of these. So we're just kind of playing around, but I wanted to show you that. So now I'm just having to rethink this. Let me bring these trees a little bit bigger. So let me move this out of my way. I want to see how much bigger I can make these trees. Bring them down. All right. So we're going to bump against my edge. All right. Something like that. Super cute. And maybe I'll make my little moose a little bit bigger. Maybe I'll do them more like that. That'll be cute. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and slice these trees back behind him. So once again, I'm going to grab, so I'm going to have to move my circle out of the way, which is no big deal. Like I said, it's not cutting at the same time, and I've already got it sized to where I need it to be. So I'm going to select my trees and my moose. I'm going to hit, well, let me duplicate my moose first. Duplicate this little guy. Just makes it easier so you don't have to go grab a new moose, try to resize it. Now we're going to select our moose and our trees. We're going to come down here, hit slice. Same thing, we're going to get rid of all these pieces like this. And get rid of those. Now, our moose should fit perfectly just like that. Now you'll see that it leaves like these little pieces and stuff, like this one and this one. If you don't want those because they're super tiny and you would have to fuss with getting this exactly in place, which is what I'm going to do because I don't want to fuss with that. What I'm going to do, and I don't think they're really necessary, I'm going to click on it, I'm going to hit contour, and I'm going to just get rid of it. So I'm going to click on that one and this one. I don't want them because they're just too tiny to mess with, because when I came to put my moose, I'd have to really fuss with getting that in there. So there, that looks good. All right, so now what I'm going to do is set this like this. I'm pretty happy with it. Everything's the color that it's supposed to be, but I need to now attach Merry Christmas. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to hit weld because I want all my pieces to be attached. So I hit weld, so now that's going to cut in one piece. So let's go ahead and go to make it and make sure it's not going to charge us this time. All right, looking good so far. There we go. So now it's not going to charge us for this one. So what I'm going to do, if you notice that it put my moose on a different mat here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this last one here. I'm going to click on my moose. You see these three little dots? I'm going to click on those, and I'm going to hit move to another mat. So I'm going to tell it to move to this one. Confirm. Now I'm going to set it right in here, and I'm going to try to find a spot because it's not going to cut there anyways. I mean, it's not going to stay. Unless I just want to weed out the whole thing and have it lay down once, but I'm not going to. So what I'll do is I'll find the best spot to put him to where I can save some of this vinyl for later. So I'll try to move him over this way as much as I can to one side, so that way I can save this part of my vinyl whenever we go to weed this thing. So let's see. That looks good to me. Alright, so what I'm going to do, maybe we'll move them just a hair. Alright, so that's where I want that to be. Now this mat will stay here. Don't worry about it. It's not going to cut anything. So we have our black mat, we have our green mat for our trees, and we have our red stuff. Alright, so let's go ahead and cut this out. We don't need to mirror it because we're using regular vinyl. So let's go ahead, and now it's saying purchase. Purchase what? Okay. My cart is empty. Purchase. What the heck is going on here? Cart empty. I get that. Maybe I need to exit out of this other one. Leave page. So let me cancel because I want to make sure I save this thing. All right, let's save. I'm going to save as moose. Save. Okay, now let's go to make it again. Maybe Cricut's messed up today. This is so weird. Okay, now at this point I can hit continue, but I've got to move these guys. Well, you know what I'll do? I'm going to show you the other way to do this. So I've just showed you that with the mats. Now another way to do it would be to, I'm going to bring this up just a little bit like that to where I wanted this to be. Don't worry about everything else because like I said, it doesn't matter because it's not attaching everything. We're just going to attach these two guys together. So I'm just once again moving that moose as close as I can to save all this space. So I've got that clicked. Now I'm gonna click my moose and I'm gonna hit attach. So now these two pieces are attached. So that was another way anyways. So now let's go to make it so that way I don't have to fuss with the mats because apparently Cricut is messed up today. And so we don't want to purchase nothing. So we're gonna hit continue. And now I'm gonna hook up my Cricut at this point. We're gonna get them cut out and I'll meet you right back at my plate. So now that we got it all cut out, now we're going to weed it, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this by attaching that to save this piece right here. So these pieces right here, this is from Parsbee. It is Oracle 651, and this is I think about $2.35. It's $2 and some change for a 12 by 12, and I don't think that's bad for the pattern paper. But anyways, this is their plaid. I think it's called Paul Bunyan. Love it. And then these ones right here are both just Parsbee, so I have a green and a black. So what I'm going to do is kind of show you how to weed these. I'm going to go ahead and involve that as well, just in case somebody, you know, want to just kind of see how I do it. So what I'm doing here is just, like I said, I save everything. And so like these pieces I'll save because like this right here, I may be able to fit a little, you know, some type of little wording in here or something like that. And this is definitely big enough to do something with. So I'm going to keep those. And then down here on the trees, I had cut this one too big. Usually I cut them to size, but I went a little crazy this time, so I'll go ahead and save that little piece as well. And then let me go ahead and show you here on this one. So what I'm going to do before I weed this, I'm going to go ahead and save some of this as well. And I'll probably cut it from like one side over here to the next. So I'm just kind of getting as close as I can to that line without going all the way over. I mean, if you feel like you could safely cut on that line, you can do that. But just so I can save some of this pattern, because that is some pretty big pieces, instead of just wasting all of this outside piece. And this goes for anything that you're doing kind of big. So definitely try to save these pieces. So I'm just kind of cutting that around just like that. So now I have some pieces like this, but I could cut them up like these little squares right here. This right here could do probably a whole name or something like that. But these are pretty much can be cut down into like little squares for little hearts, anything. So if you were doing like somebody's monogram, you could get, you know, 4 letters out of all of this. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, try to save what you can. It's definitely worth it. So let's go ahead and start weeding. So let's start with this guy so I can cut out that moose. So I'm going to go ahead and take a sharper pair of scissors where I can kind of get in here and cut, because like I said, I want to kind of try to be able to save this piece here. So what I'm going to do is kind of the same thing. I'm just going to poke in there and get my scissors going as close to that line as I can. Like I said, if you feel comfortable cutting on that line, you can do that. So I'm just kind of going around like this. And I'm going to cut out the whole circle because I need to cut the moose separately. So I'm going to go ahead and go around this guy real careful. All right, just like that. So now I can separate my moose. So I'll take my big pair of scissors again. And I'm just going to get up as close as I can, kind of come around this way. All right, so now you can see that was a big chunk of vinyl that I was able to save and utilize. So So I can still probably do like another mousse out of that, something. So anyways, so what I'm going to do, and another thing to think about is, you know, they have sales on this all the time, whether it be Parsbee or Expressions, and they have 10 to 20%. So you can snag this kind of stuff then and kind of stock up. That's what I like to do. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just getting it going here, weeding. So I'm just going to get all these little pieces out here. There, just like that. So I've just got one more piece. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get this one. Just like that. All right, now for the outside here, I've just got one little piece on the outside since I cut real close. So I'm just going to weed that whole entire piece off like that. All right, and I'm going to do the same thing to the middle. All right, just like that. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and weed my trees. I like to weed the stuff that's going to weed a little bit faster first because, you know, the font's going to take just a little bit. So I like to get these pieces. So now all of those pieces stay because that's where the mousse kind of fits in between those trees. So now, like I said, when we put this down, and you'll see that in a minute, you're not going to have that bumpily type, you know, it's not going to be like a bump going over. Because, like I said, and this goes for anything that you're doing layering, just pile it on top of one another. As long as it's not multiple layers, you can slice it like that. So now what I'm doing is very carefully weeding my letters here, just like that. So all I have left is to get out these little tiny pieces. And I will give you a tip. If you're ever needing to weed out anything that's super tiny, now these aren't tiny, but I want to show you, for example, just get yourself a little needle and poke those and it'll get them right out because sometimes you have super tiny. So like if my vinyl didn't already pull out like these little pieces of black, which this one still had a little one, I can just poke it and it'll come right out. Sometimes you got to fiddle with it, but it'll just pull it right out. So that's another tip in case you can't get some little pieces out. Like if your weeding tool's too big. All right, and it looks like when I letter spaced, I should have brought it in one more time. My letters are a little bit off. We will roll with it anyways. All right, so let me just finish picking out these couple. All right, just like that. All right, so now that we have those weeded, let's talk about the plate. And I'm gonna show you how to do all my measuring and all that kind of snazzies. All right, so we're gonna move these guys out of the way. Now, let's talk about the plate, and I'm going to also show you a cut. So I went to my local junk store, which, you know, some people get offended when you call it a junk store, but that's what we've always called it. But anyways, you know, it's like a Goodwill, but ours is called Marva, so I'm sure you've got some around town, even if it was a Goodwill. And I found this plate right here, which is actually a Pier 1 for 75 cents. They had another one, but they had it marked for $1. They were separate prices, and they wouldn't, and I was like, I'm not going to do it, which is no big deal, but that annoys me. So anyways, I don't know if anybody else gets that, but literally I could go buy one from the Dollar Tree for $1. So, but this is Pier 1, which doesn't really matter, but it was 75 cents. And so I wanted to create like a Christmas plate for some cookies and stuff. Now also, they had some cups like this, and they had a ton of them. I'm sure yours does too. You may not think about it. And all I got to do is wash it. Looks brand spanking new, and it was 10 cents. So all I got to do is use some alcohol to take that off. Same thing with this one. A little bit of alcohol will take that right off, and it looks brand new, and you can make a gift. I mean, you know, once you wash these and everything like that, use some bleach and stuff, I mean, they're safe. You can give them away. Nobody would ever even know that you paid 75 cents at a junk stop. So, anyways, so I hope that you guys found that helpful. Now, let's go ahead and start with this. What I'm going to do to make it to work easy first, I'm going to work on the inside with my trees and then my mousse, and then we'll get our Merry Christmas down. And it looks like I was probably off a little bit whenever I was doing my sizes from the inside because of this lip. But let me show you how I measured that. So when you're measuring your circle here, what you're going to do is take your ruler and make sure you go on that line. So I'm going to go on that line to the edge, and it was 10.5. Now, if you wanted to be safe, you could always bring it in just a little bit. So instead of doing a 10.5, do a little bit more than 10.25, almost 10.5. So there's 10.5. Then I'm going to come back. This is that second circle that I had put in and cut it out. I come from this edge here with that line, and then I measure. So it was about 7.25. I actually probably should have No, because it would make my circle bigger. So 7 1/4 is what I did. But that's what you want to do is get your line right on this lip edge here. And then right there. Now, when I measured doing everything inside, I should have came down about 1/4 over to make sure that I had room for this little bit of a lip that kind of just goes down, if that makes sense. So that's how we got the sizing for this. So we're going to work with our inside first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get me some contact paper here. I'm going to go ahead and cut it down to size. Now, I should be able to probably use one piece for several of these. So, like I said, because you can use it multiple times, so y'all get to see that today. So I'm just cutting down a piece that'll pick that up, and it'll also work for the mousse and my lettering. So let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and probably, well, no, I'm going to start with my trees first. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up my trees here. All right. So what I'm going to do is move this out of the way so I can get this on here. All right, so I'm going to zoom you guys in just a little bit for this. So what I'm going to do is just get this varnished on here really good. And like I said, this is that contact paper from the Dollar Tree. Alrighty. Now I should be able to just lift this right off, just like that. Alright, we're going to bring our plate back in. Now you want to make sure that you've already washed it and sanitized it and all that good snazz. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get started on the trees here. And I'm going to bring it down as low as I possibly can. So what I did was paid attention to these corners because obviously I couldn't bring them down any further. So I'm going to lay that down really good. We're going to varnish this on here. So this is a way to make a 75-cent plate look expensive. Like from one of them cute little boutiques. We want them to buy our friends something, but it costs $40. So now you can recreate that yourself. So then what I'm going to do is carefully pull back my contact paper. Just like that. Okay, so now for the next step, we're going to bring in the mousse. I may zoom you guys back out a little bit just like that. All right, so let's bring in the mousse. So I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to get him picked up. So I'm going to go ahead and get this down. So I'm using the same contact paper. And let me move my plate. We're going to go ahead and varnish this little guy really good. I just love this plaid. I think it's super, super cute. All right, that should be good to go. Go ahead and get that back up. And pull this guy off carefully. All right, so just like that, we're gonna move back in our plate. Now this one's gonna be a little bit more tedious because we gotta line it up in between here, which I should have been paying attention for my mousse legs, but that'll be okay. He's probably gonna come up the side just a little. So very carefully, I'm just kind of holding to get control. So I'm pulling his bottom up just like this, just so I can line up his face and his little horns right inside. All right, so just like that. It looks like I got off just a little bit right here with the tree. I could have brought his bottom up just a little bit, but other than that, I think it looks good. So now you won't have this bumpy. It's all like one solid piece because we didn't have the, you know, the extra layer of them trees underneath him. So it makes it just so much smoother. So I highly recommend that on any project that you're doing. If you've got to layer several pieces, try to slice them up so that way it makes it just one smooth piece. So now I'm going to go ahead and carefully peel this up. So like I said, patience is key, and then just try to get control of your, like how I did, try to get control of your your vinyl, because you can still pull it back up until you get it down. But just be nice and easy working from one piece going down. All right, so there we go so far. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take that same piece of contact paper and pick up our Merry Christmas, just like that. I'm going to move my plate, and we're going to varnish this little guy down. All right, we're going to peel the backing off. All right, so bring back in our plate here. All right, now we're gonna get our Merry Christmas down. So same thing, just kind of get some control of your vinyl so you can figure out exactly where you want to place this. Let's see. Kind of would like, let me see how much further. Nope, it's wanting to stick, so that's where it's gonna go. You have to be real careful pushing down on this because you'll make it stay. All right, so we'll just leave that there. Now, after the fact, because I figured once I got it down, I could really look at it. Maybe I want to go back and cut out a few snowflakes, maybe in the white or in silver or even the blue, and cut some snowflakes out and maybe add some few small snowflakes here and there. So don't feel like you got to design it all at one time. So when you get something going, if it feels still like it needs a little something extra, you can always come back and add it after the fact. So we're going to go ahead and get this peeled off. So there we go. Look at how cute this 75-cent plate's coming out. All right, so now prayers that this little guy is going to fit correctly and that I measured it right. I have a feeling we're going to have a little bit of issue because of the roundness of the way that it kind of sets down. So I'm hoping it's going to set down correctly. I'm trying to decide if I should probably cut it in half and lay down one side carefully and then come back and lay the other side down just so it lays down easier. So just because you're you know, if I go to lay this down and it wants to bend on one side, and I think that is what I'm going to do. Now I could use a slicer just to make sure it's perfect. Let's see. I don't know. We could attempt it. And if it doesn't seem like it's going to work at that point, I'll cut it. All right. So that way we can kind of learn together. So look how cute that's going to look. All right. So we're going to take us a big piece. And don't worry, because like I said, you can reuse a big piece like this. You can just put it back on its plastic. So I'm going to figure out how big I need the little guy. All right, just like that. So we're gonna move the plate so we can pick up our vinyl. So we're gonna lay that down. All right, so I'm just gonna take my contact paper very carefully. I'm gonna kind of fold it right here in the middle. So that way I can drop it down and then fold it out. Just like that. All right, so now you may want to, because like I'm on a piece of paper here, you may want to take like a Teflon sheet. Lay your Teflon sheet down first, then put on your vinyl. Unless you're working like on your kitchen table, like a glass surface, something that'll make sure it's not going to stick to you. So I'm going to carefully rub this down. All right, let's see if that was good enough to pick it up. Let me go. And what I'm going to do to be safe, so you know what, we may not reuse this, and it's from the Dollar Tree, so I don't want it to go down on top of my other and be fussing with it on top of the stuff I've already created. So what I'm going to go ahead and do at this point is I'm going to take my little scissors again, and I'm going to go ahead and trim off the excess in the inside, just to be safe. So I'm just trimming right inside there, and it's not perfect, but I just don't want it to go and be pulling on the vinyl that I've already worked hard to get down, which is not hard, but you know what I mean. I just don't want it to mess nothing up. And plus be sitting here fussing with this sticky part, sticking and then trying to stick this other, and you get it. All right, so we'll just trash that. Which you could have just stuck it back down on its other piece of paper and like cut it the same thing, put it back. anyways, but no big deal. But these would be great if you're needing a gift. And the reason why I'm doing this video now is that way, because I like to see something, because if you're going to work on projects like a few months in advance of Christmas, especially say you want to make one of these for each one of your family members or something like that, friends, coworkers, you know, you want to start on stuff early. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to test it out to see if we would be able to lay it down at the same time. So what I'm going to do to see what makes it easier, I'm going to try to kind of come, and I don't want it to stick too much. So let's say I kind of come as close to the edge as I can, like that. And let me see if it would attempt to let me lay it like that. So I need to bring it back out, so hold on. We're going to carefully pull that back up. All right. So what I need to do this time, and like I said, you're just working with one side, I'm going to make sure I get closer to the edge. A little bit closer. Let's see if that's going to be enough to get us to where we're going. So what I'm doing is just slowly coming around, crossing my fingers. Let me pull back up this side. I'm trying to keep it more towards the top here. So like I said, I'm just one side to the next. Nice and slowly. I may have to pull back up one side. So I think this side got a little too far off. So just when you're pushing, I'm pushing out towards the edge. All right. Now, when I get to this point here, it seems like it's wanting to, whoop, let me pull that back up. Okay. So I want to make sure everybody's going to be down right. It looks like this one came in too far. So I need to, that's why you want to do this before you sit here and put it all down. Like I said, trying to make sure that it is coming toward the very, very edge. So I'm just making it push up towards that top. All right, now when I get around here, I'm trying to look because it looks like it's wanting to come down. What I'm gonna do at this point, because this is the area where it's wanting to do something, this is where I'm gonna go ahead and come in and make that line and then just line them up really good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go ahead and slice right here. And I don't want that to go down, so I'm going to try to hold it over like that. All right. So now what I'm going to do is just finish keeping this up towards the top like that. So now everything else is smooth. Now this one here, it looks like it messed up a little bit underneath my, from doing all this pulling on my contact paper. So what I'm going to do is carefully bring them apart and then carefully roll it back down. So that would be a little bit easier. And I might even just kind of pull back up my contact paper and then nice and slowly pushing outwards, get this down, trying to line these two up. So I'm gonna try to get this contact paper to let this side go because I think they're going to overlap just a little bit. Now either I can let them overlap or I could trim up that little bit of a piece so that way they don't overlap. But I don't think you can really tell because here in a second I'm going to go back and you tell me if you can see it. Now you would have a little bit of a bump of vinyl. Like I said, you can either cut that little piece off or you can leave it. So let me zoom you guys out. All right, so now like try to spot, which you probably can tell because you may have known exactly where I landed. Try to spot where I've overlapped it. So from there, can you see my overlap? But it's right here in case you knew, so you can see right there. So either A, I can carefully, because I still haven't really pushed down with my tool yet, pull that back up. And I'm just going to pull it enough to where I'm going to roll the edge of my vinyl here, like that. Then I can take my scissors and very carefully trim off the excess like that. So there we go. So now that I have it on at this point, I can go ahead and do this. That way I can smooth out any bubbles. I'm working them towards the edge there. Just like that. Now, can you imagine finding, 4 matching plates, or even going to the Dollar Tree sells plates like this too. You could probably even get them super affordable from Walmart, just buying them one at a time. Or, like I said, go to Goodwill, go to your junk store, start looking now if you're going to do this for a Christmas project. And imagine for, say $3, you can create these amazing plates and give them as a gift, as a set of 4. Or, like I said, it would be a super cute cookie plate or anything like that for Santa. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys found it helpful to kind of knock that out and make that more like a solid piece. And then to see like using the curved text instead of doing like a complete circle. Doing just a curved text on that. Also, if you find the cups, you can also put a matching moose on top of your cups here, and then do a little Merry Christmas, or do a moose and then put mom, dad, put their names on them and things like that. You could make a set where it's like the cup and the plate, so you could do the moose and the plate. So whatever you want to do, but like I said, and I had 10 cents here, 75 cents there, so that's 85 cents for a super cute set to give away as a Christmas gift. That'd be awesome for a Dirty Santa gift, stuff like that. So anyways, I hope you guys found this helpful. If you did, please hit the like button down below and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.